Good morning. My name is Tom Kirk, and on behalf of State Superintendent Joy Hoffmeister and the Oklahoma State Department of Education, I would like to welcome you to our FY20 Language Instruction for English Learners and Immigrant Students Annual Performance Report How-To webinar. This is the How-To webinar. There have been some changes for this year, so we'll walk through those. So first of all, I'd like to give an overview of just why we do this, what the Language Instruction Performance Report is, and who is required to complete it, what's new for this year for the FY20 report, and then we will walk through the report step by step. It's not a very long or complicated report, but it's worth having a look at various parts. So first of all, what is the Language Instruction Performance Report and who is required to complete it? LEAs have a civil rights obligation to serve any English learners that live in their districts and that attend their schools. So the Language Instruction Performance Report is a tool that allows us, the State Department of Education, to verify that English learners are being served by the LEAs where they're enrolled. We then send this information to the U.S. Department of Education that collects this information on a national level. All LEAs in the state are required to complete this report, whether you currently have any English learners enrolled or not. If you don't have any English learners enrolled, then it's a very quick report to fill out, but you still are required to submit a report. This particular report covers data from the 2019-2020 school year, and the numbers that are pre-populated in the report come from the October 1, 2019 data drawn from the WAVE, and this report is due August 28th, 2020. We're a little bit late getting this report out this year because we've had to make some changes to gather information that was requested by OSDE. So we have a fairly short window this year. So what's new for the FY19-20 year that has just come to a close and that we're reporting on? So in order to meet new reporting requirements from OSDE, we have added a grade level breakdown of the number of students in each type of LIEP intervention strategy. So that's reflected in the big table in the report, which we will see in just a minute or two. So let's have a look at what the report looks like in practice. The screenshots that I'm going to be showing here are from a test environment. So these are not this is not actual data. It's from a test environment where we checked to make sure the report was working properly. And I have logged in as if I were the school district of Bethany. But again, if you're Bethany, I didn't do your report for you. These are in the test environment. So when you open up the report, you will see this screen here with instructions. I think they're pretty straightforward, but we could walk through them. Where it says instructions about halfway through, it reiterates that this report is required of all districts, and the district responses should reflect your enrollment data, activities, and staffing from the 2019-2020 school year. And again, the numbers, a lot of the numbers are pre-populated. The totals for each grade level are pre-populated from October 1 data. And we realize that the number of students in a particular grade level or in your program may fluctuate over the course of the year, but we want to stick with those totals that are already pre-populated in the data. So for table 1, select all of the instructional models present in the district and the specific EL enrollment by grade level for each. In table 2, you select activities that the district has engaged in, that you're using to support your English learners over the academic year. And then question 3 will list the number of teachers who serve EL students, and also an estimate of where you think your program is going. Anyhow, those are the instructions. To get off of this page, you have to look at the bottom. There's that little kind of purplish table where it asks for contact information. I just put in some kind of random information there, as you can see. But put in your contact information and hit save, and that will allow you to move on. When you hit save, you'll notice that in the upper left-hand corner of this page, a new tab will appear, and it is this Annual Performance Report tab. That's where the report is. So you click on that tab, and it will open up the next page where we have a description of the various items in the following table. This is a table describing the types of programs listed in the table. So if transitional bilingual, this is if you have kids in bilingual classes. Generally, this is for a limited period of time to allow students to gain a certain degree of fluency before they're put in mainstream classes. Dual language or two-way immersion classes, where students are taught content and language in two different languages. This is much less common, but there are a few programs around the state. English as a second language or English language development classes. These are generally supplemental classes, pull-out classes or after-hours classes where English learners are given specific language instruction. The next one, content classes with integrated ESL support. This is very common across the state where your English learners are put in mainstream classes where the teacher will include scaffolding and structure to help English learners with their language skills as they learn the course content. Newcomer programs. These are most common in areas where there is a large influx of immigrant students. So these would be segregated classes, preferably for a limited period of time, in order to bring English learners up to a level of proficiency that allows them to be mainstreamed. And then the last option there, no support provided. This should not be the case. If you're not supporting your ELs, let us know and we'll be in touch and help you work out some strategies. So this little block of text is above the table that we're going to look at now. And each of these items corresponds to one of the rows in the table. So this is roughly what the table looks like. I've had to cut off part of it on the right because it wouldn't fit on the screen. You'll see over here on the left, we have each of the strategies that were listed in the box. On the previous slide, it's just above this. And then we have the number of ELs enrolled and a total, and then we have a breakdown by grade level, pre-K, kindergarten, grade 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So what you do is you look at the type of program that you're implementing. If there are students who are in more than one type of program, you have to choose one. So you choose the dominant one, whichever one is that the student spends more time in or that has the most impact on the student. But for each student should be placed in only one of these categories here. If you click yes, then the box will open up here asking the language of instruction. So in a transitional bilingual, that might be a language other than English. For content classes, that's going to be English and so on. So a box will open up here, put in a language, and then we have Okay, number of ELs enrolled, and I already see a problem with this one. The number of students in each type of program, and this would be a problem. Here we have 511 plugged in, and the total at the bottom is 108. So the numbers in this column should equal the total at the bottom. You cannot change the total at the bottom. That is drawn from the wave, and I realize that enrollments fluctuate over the course of the year, but we need to get the numbers in each column to line up with the total at the bottom. Okay, and then we see for each grade, we have the same thing. So there are 6 pre-K students in this district, and you would put, say, if 4 of them are in ESL classes and 2 of them are in mainstream classes, then you put 4 and 2, and that adds up to 6, and everybody's happy. You may notice that if you add up the totals of each column and compare it here to the total number enrolled, they might not correspond, and that's because the pre-K numbers are subtracted out. So your enrollment of kindergarten through 12th grade should equal this number here. Okay, and here just to reiterate, this is underneath the table, but it's written pretty small. It's kind of easy to miss. It says if multiple languages are represented within a specific LIEP intervention strategy, select the dominant language present in the program, and column totals should be equal to the district October 1 EL count. So I'm going to go back to the previous slide here. In this column here where you select a language, select the dominant language if there's more than one language, and that these totals across the bottom are drawn from the October 1 count, and these cannot be changed. So please make sure that the information you put in each column adds up to the total here, and that may require using not the most recent numbers, but this is a snapshot from last October. Okay, in the bottom half of the screen, then there's another table, and this just says you complete the table below regarding EL support activities in the district. So we want to know what type of activities you're doing or not doing. So if you are, supporting development and implementation of LIEP, I think everybody's going to say yes on that. If you have ELs, if you have professional development for teachers other than those serving ELs, you click yes. It's pretty straightforward. What are you doing at your district? Here under other, if you click yes, you get a text box and you can describe what you're doing to support your English learners. Then at the very end of the bottom of the report, there are 2 more questions. Number 3 is the number of certified licensed teachers currently teaching in a district LIEP. Okay, this is the total number of teachers that are working, that are the teachers of record for English language or English learners. So if you have your English learners, but in mainstream courses with some EL support, ESL support, then each of those mainstream teachers would be counted here. So the certified teachers that are teachers of record for courses that have English learners in them. So that might be a larger number than what you would at first think. And then number 4, an estimate of the number of additional certified licensed teachers who will be needed to address English learning needs over the next 5 years. So this is your estimate, but you have a better idea than I do of the trend lines in your school. You have increasing numbers of English learners, decreasing, stable. So do you think that you will need to add teachers over the course of the next 5 years? And if so, how many do you expect to have to add. And then the final thing to note here at the very bottom, we have two buttons, a save and a certify button. Once you've entered your information, you have to save it first or it won't let you certify it. Once it's been saved, you can certify it. If you want to make changes after having certified the report, you need to contact me and I can open the report back up to you for changes. There's a phone number here for assistance called the Office of Federal Programs, and that's our main office number. Most of us are not working in the office all the time right now, so it's perhaps better to call, skip over this for a second. It's perhaps better to call me. My office phone number is this one here, 405-521-4878. Again, I'm more often than not working remotely these days, but any messages left at that number I do receive at home. So feel free to call that and leave a message, or you can contact me at my email, thomas.kirk@sde.ok.gov. So I'm going to wrap this up here. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. I'd be very happy to talk to you or exchange emails to address any questions or concerns that you may have. Thank you very much.